Okay, so this is the Excel file in which we are having the test data. So till now we have parameterized, we have learned how to parameterize our test, right? Using random number where numerical data is the input, or else we have used a data table. From data table we have directly parameterized, like by adding a data table here and adding the rows in it, right? Now today we will see how to get the data which is present in our local computer somewhere. So this is the Excel file, and these are the two columns in the Excel file, and the sheet name in the Excel file is login data, whereas the sheet name is also login data. See here, this is the sheet name login data, and in the sheet we have one sheet which is again the name is the same login data. Now how to use this data in our script? Let us see. First of all, we need to use the data in our script, right? So we need to fetch the data from the local computer into our QTP environment. So how to do that? To fetch the data from external files, we have a method data table dot import sheet, right? Import sheet will import only the particular sheet. Means if suppose there are any more sheets in this particular Excel file, suppose there is other sheet, see here we can add, let us say tab, right? Other tab in this sheet. So if we have other tabs also, if we want to import only that particular sheet, we can use that by import sheet method. So I'm just using import sheet, and then from which location I want to import. It's a C directory. Then the file name. What is the file name? The file name is login data. So C drive login data.xls, comma, here you will see the syntax or the format: import sheet, file name, source sheet and destination sheet, because you are trying to import only one sheet from that one, right? So what is the source sheet? Again the sheet present is login data. So this is the sheet, and to which sheet you want. By default there are two sheets, which is a global sheet and the other one is action sheet, but I want to import it into my own sheet. So let us first create my own sheet. To do that, data table dot add sheet method. We have add sheet, then the sheet name. Create your own sheet. I am creating output. The sheet name is output. I am not using either global sheet or action sheet, but I am using my own sheet. So that I want to, I'll give the destination name here. I want to import it to output. So this is my new sheet. Here right now only global and action sheet are available. I am creating a new sheet and I am trying to import this particular login data tab into my output sheet. So done. Now data is present in my QTP environment. Now I can use the data, but I have to use so many rows. Means for each iteration the data should be used. For each iteration it should take value from each row. So you should write a code in such a way now. So before that, here the test scenario is get the data from Excel file, login, and also want to output the status. Means the exact scenario is the output should contain one more column called status, and it should contain whether passed or failed depending on the inputs given. So my output sheet should contain again 3 columns, like I should have a user ID, password, and one more column should be added here by name status, and it should contain the corresponding status accordingly. So this is the scenario here. So now I have imported the data. Now I want to add one more column to the sheet output. How to add a column? Data table dot get sheet. For which sheet I want to add the column? I want to add the column to the output sheet. This is a sheet I am trying to create. Output sheet, and then you have other methods. Add parameter. Add parameter will add a new column and it takes the values parameter name and value. Parameter name is nothing but the column name. Parameter here is nothing but the column. So I am giving the column. So a new column will be created. And after creating this new column, I just want to give some value there. For initially, I'm just giving a blank value. Once I do the scenario, means once I use my input data, I'll put either pass or fail accordingly. So till now, we have just added one sheet into our data table, and into that sheet we have imported the data which is present in our local computer. Then after importing, I have created one more column to the sheet. Means till this point my output sheet will contain two columns like this, user ID and password. Now I am adding one more column here. So till now I have added a column. Now I want the script. Now I'll write the login script, but that script should be iterated for as many number of rows as there in the script. So when we have some particular code to iterate through each row in the Excel, or else to iterate for each value, we have a loop which will be useful here, which is called for loop. Right, means it will be iterated for each value in that particular row. That's what we want here. And this for loop takes the counter variable. Counter variable is nothing but I. Here we give numbering to the values. Means I want to run from the first row. So I takes values from 1 to, how many rows are there? 5 rows, right? This is the column name. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows. So I can give here 5, so that my loop will be iterated 5 times. But as I told you, your code should be in such a way that it should be used even though some more column or some more rows were added into your Excel sheet, or else some rows were deleted. It should not be data dependent. Your test script should not be data dependent. It should be free from data. Means whenever any data changes or else any modifications done, your script should be reusable. So let us use a variable sum n. But what is n? N is nothing but the number of rows present in the Excel sheet. If I put here, the loop will be iterated for as many rows present in the Excel. If you keep on adding the rows, or else if you delete some rows, even then it will work. So I to n. But what is n? N should be the number of rows in the Excel sheet. How to get the value of n? In the last class, we have used a method called get row count. Right, so use the method and get the row count. Here already Excel file is copied into your data table, so you can directly use data table method. Data table dot, I can put get row count directly, but what if I put directly get row count? It will give me the number of rows for the global sheet by default. So I have to use one more method here, get sheet. Then specify the sheet, for which sheet I want to know the number of rows, and then output. Now apply the get row count method. Now my n contains number of rows present in the output sheet. Output sheet means the exact data where my input data is present. So now for loop is done. Now I need to iterate this for, I need to write here the code for login scenario. Let us put it. So now write the code for login. Firstly, add the objects to the repository. I think you are all familiar with adding these objects and all, right? You might have practiced by this time well how to add the objects and all objects, right? So that all the objects present in that window will be added. Done. Now again I want to add the window. Okay, we'll do that again. So now write the code for login. So now I want to here set the value from the data table. Before that, just give some value here. We'll make changes to that. First, write the basic script. First, develop the basic script. Then we'll parameterize that. Here also I'm using set method. And then click on OK. Done. So till here login part is done. So now try to use here the value from the data table. We have another property like data table.value to fetch the value from that particular column. So let us replace this with the value property. How to do that? Data table.value, right? We have used this when we want to try to get some value from any row or column. Right here it takes the parameters. Parameter ID is nothing but the column. Column name is nothing but, you should put the same column name, UID. U is in caps. Dot sheet name. Which sheet our data is present now? Our data is present now in the output sheet which I just created. So output. So that I get the value from that particular row. Right now here also do the same thing. Data table dot value, then it's a password, p caps wd, and the sheet name is same sheet. Done. Now I have used parameters for agent name and password. So, but I want to run this for each value. If I don't give any number here, each time it will fetch from the first row, right? So, to go to each row, I have one more method which is called set current row method. So, before running this loop or running this code, I will use set current row method. And then what is the current row? Current row is nothing but I, because when the first time for the for loops initiates, it will go into the loop, then I equal to 1. So I am taking the execution to the row I. So now the data table execution was set at row 1. Now it will be taking the values from the row 1 and it will be executed. Next time it comes out of the loop, it comes here, then I will be incremented by 1, then I is equal to 2. Now I am setting again data table dot set current row to 2. If I don't use this, then again by default it will go to the first row. But I want the execution to be taken for each row. So using the set current row method to set execution at each row. I am using the counter as here, the variable as I, so that because I increments each time and whenever the loops iterates for each row, execution was set at that particular row. So then this will return the value of that particular row. So till now login is done. Now I have one more thing to do, that is a log off. Add the flight window, flight reservation window also. Here I want only the main window, so selected object only. So the window was added. Now I can write flight reservation dot close. Done. Now my script is done. So what if I have some invalid data? Because see, my Excel sheet also contains invalid data. Even this is invalid. I'm not sure, but I'm having some invalid data. Here password is blank, so invalid. Login will not happen. So if you leave this like this window will be available only if login is success. So you should write here the code to handle the error scenario. Means handle the invalid data also. So use a if block here. And here I am using a condition to close the window only when the window is available. That I can do by using exist method. Exist. And I can give some timing, exist dot 30 or else some 15 seconds. So that it will wait for 50 seconds. Now I'll put this here. Only the window is available, then close it. Otherwise, when the window is not available, I have some other thing to do here because I'll get some error window. Right now, I need to handle this one. I need to close this window, then click on cancel. We have already done this part. Now again, add the particular window also to the repository. Add it. All objects times. And also I have to add the cancel button. Done. Now else if the window is not available means I have the error message. Error window. So dialog.login dot the small window which is again a pop-up window is again belongs to the class dialog flight reservations dot close. After closing that, I need to cancel this window also. This window also I need to click on cancel for that particular iteration. So win button, this time choose a cancel, don't click. So handle the return the code for handling the invalid data. And also I have one more thing. I need to insert some message in the status column. If it is passed, means this is the pass. If the window is exists, it's a pass. I need to put a pass status there. If this login is failure, I need to put fail. So write the data to do that also. So write the script to do that also. I'll close the window and I also want to insert the value into the data table. How to insert the value into the data table? Again, we have data table.value property, same as the one we use here. But this time we are directly using the value, but here I am assigning some value to the column. Here the column name is status. Column name is status and the sheet name is output. So into this I am assigning some message like a login. Here pass. This will give the value of that particular column, right? That particular column value will have. Now I am assigning some value to that particular column here, which is a pass. Similarly, here also. Fail. Otherwise, you can put it more clearly. Login success. Here login failed. Which describes your scenario clearly. Login failed. So this is the complete script, and here we can do one more thing. After closing the application here, closing the application, again it goes here and runs. But to run this, the window should be open first. So here, write the script to open the application. I can use systemutil.run command, or else I have one more thing which is used to open the application, one more method which is called invoke application, which is used to open the application. Here you give just the path of the application. The complete path, flight Fourier.exe. So this will directly open the application. This is also a method to call the function, to open the particular application, like system util.run command. Invoke application is also used to open the application. But there is a difference between invoke application and system util command. Like invoke application can be used only on applications like exe files, right? Fourier.exe, something like that. But system util command is used to open any application. It can be used to open any application. It's always better to go for system util.run command. Just to show you another method, I am using this invoke application. This can be used or performed only on exe files with extension exe, some executable files. So I'm doing this, but before doing this, I'll use here one more if condition, because I should not open two windows at a time. I should be careful while doing this because I'm running a loop for each row. I want to open this if the window does not exist, means dialog login dot exist, and then just here I'm giving some 3 seconds equal to false. Dialog login dot exist of 3 equal to false means if this login window is not visible, is not available, is equal to false means dialog dot exist equal to false means if that is not available, then open the application, or else if that is available, right? Anyhow, sometimes we might be opening two windows and keep it like that. If there are two windows and you try to run the script, it will give you an error, like it cannot identify the object because there are two objects with the similar properties. So to avoid any mistakes like that, I'm using this one. Dialog login dot exist equal to false means if that window is not available, then do this. Here again I'm using one more exist method to check whether if the window is available, then do this. Now after executing for each row, I want to export the sheet into my local computer. Now use the export sheet method. Data table dot export sheet. I want to export only the particular sheet. Which sheet I want to export? I want to export output sheet. Into, let us put new out.xls. If the file is not there, it will create a new file by the name. Then source sheet. Which sheet I want to export? I want to export output sheet, which contains all the 3 columns now. So this is my complete script. So here we are having 5 rows of data. So first let us execute the script. Before doing that, once check the data table settings, file settings, run. Yes, run on all rows. Fine. See here, you can observe the data table. A new sheet was created output and the last column was filled with the appropriate message. But once run execution is done, the data table will be empty again. You can see here at the bottom. it will wait for 15 seconds there. Flight reservation not exist. It will wait for 15 seconds whether the window is available. Then it will go to the else case. Again, your data table will contain nothing. So just first go to the results document. Right? Use a column from all the values. See here, you can see your data table. Right? Here it is having three sheets: global sheet, which is empty; action sheet, empty; again output sheet, which contains the complete data. Right? The first values from the Excel file, second row values, third row values, and the status message accordingly. And also we have used an export method. Let us see the sheet which we created. Date modified. This is the one. Here, this is the sheet. We have exported our data into our local computer. The status message accordingly.